Hi everyone, Testany Cramtano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and let's do a review of the new Mick Jenkins EP, Waves. Mick Jenkins is a Chicago rapper who came out with a breakout project last year, I believe, that I thought was pretty great, The Waters. Mick is a wordy, a thoughtful rapper who uses a lot of symbolism on that tape, having to do with water and thirst and hydration, a little bit of ginger ale on the side as well, and a lot of these things symbolize what I could gather, sort of enlightenment, knowledge, awareness. After the release of this tape, Mick definitely became an artist to watch within a few months' time. However, even though he has a ton of hype, he is still a new artist who has just come out with his breakout project. He's not signed to like a major label, I believe. So, you know, he's kind of in a vulnerable state right now. He needs to follow the waters up with a great project that impresses people just as much. And I think in a way he's kind of putting that inevitability of a new album off by coming out with this EP here, this mini album, which is very similarly titled to its predecessor, and is a bit of, I think, a philosophical extension of the last record. Mick does circle around a lot of the same themes. He does incorporate a lot of the same lyrical imagery, though I think maybe he dabbles a little bit more in love on this EP than he did on his previous project. So don't expect anything too novel on the lyrical front with this project, though the lyrics are still good. Mick is still putting in quite a bit of effort into his verses, and he does come through with some clever and some symbolic lines on Waves too. But this project, where it really surprises and sometimes impresses, sometimes fails to impress, is in its sound. This project sounds way different from Waters. This project doesn't really sound like you're underwater like the last one did. This one is not really as woozy or as subtle or as intoxicating and just low-key and relaxed. This EP here is much brighter, much louder. Again, not much like being submerged underwater, but actually being on top of the water, on a ship, in the midst of unpredictable stormy weather. Or kind of like rising ocean waters violently crashing against a rocky shore. This EP hits hard right from the start with the track Alchemy, which features this kind of cloudy trap-flavored beat, and Mick on top of this instrumental is delivering his lines with a ton of conviction, although I wish he had been as persistent with his bars in the second half of this track, which sort of seems to fall off and just does not deliver as much intensity as the first half. Although he does kind of take this time to address the confusion that some fans had with the last project over water, ginger ale, and there are actually a few other cuts on here that feel similar to me, like they have sort of fizzled endings, or they just kind of end abruptly, like the song Piano, or the track Get Up, Get Down. And to sort of bring it back to that whole unpredictability thing, Mick then starts working in these tracks that are kind of sing-songy. Actually features quite a bit of singing from him. Or Mick brings a vocal guest onto one of these tracks to sing, like on the song Slumber, which it does kind of feature some weak background vocals, but I love the jazzy instrumental on this track and the really intense drumming throughout this song too. And again, with the song Get Up, Get Down, this track is really peppy, even though I didn't really love the ending of this song. It kind of felt like Mick was trying to write a bit of a hit here. And if Mick's intentions of accessibility on this EP aren't clear enough for you on that track, then give it a listen to the song Your Love, which is actually a pretty sweet, sugary song, shamelessly sweet and just very lovey-dovey. Although I like this track, I think the beat is really sensual. I think overall the song is well written and memorable, and I think Mick's flow on the track, his deep husky voice, sounds amazing. Like his voice was made for this kind of song. But the singing on the song is way too goofy and way too clumsy to pull this track outside of the immediate fan base that Mick has, which is a bit of a shame because, again, I think the song is well written to the point where if it had a stronger singer on it and Mick just stuck to rapping on this track, it could be a legitimate hit for him. And again, on the song 40 Below, I mean, Mick is really kind of going like 808s and Heartbreak on this EP at points, But again, I think if he's going to try to do this stuff on a bigger project, he's really got to clean up and groom these choruses and clean up and groom these singing voices, or else his next album is going to sound like a mess, given that he actually wants to incorporate any of this stuff on his next album. This EP might just be like a really weird detour, which is why he put out an EP as opposed to an album. But then again, it's kind of hard to feel that way, given that this is so closely titled to The Waters. Maybe this is all the leftover stuff from The Waters. Who knows? I really have no idea. All I know is that I hear potential here. I do, I really do. And there are some great tracks on here as well, especially the last two cuts, P's and Q's and the closer. These are two of the few tracks on this project that actually feature consistently Mick rapping from pretty much beginning to end, and his verses actually just kill one after another on these tracks. This is the fantastic, just very intense and very passionate Mick Jenkins that I loved from The Waters, just translating again here over some more upbeat instrumentals. Overall, I liked this thing, but again, that potential that I said is there. Not all of it is capitalized on, especially with some of the singing voices being so clumsy and messy here, and especially with some of these songs feeling like the first half is very well put together, very well written, but the second half is a bit of a dud, like the song wasn't fully fleshed out into the fully capable track that it could have been. I'm feeling a light to decent 6 on this thing. Tran,